is up, guys? It is Brad back on the channel with another Huddersfield Town video. So tomorrow night is a fixture that I don't know how to call. A lot are not gonna know how to call. It's gonna be a really, really interesting game, especially just coming out of the transfer window. Who knows? And who knows? You know, if new signings may obviously play a part. Obviously, we know the situation Derby County are in, and the fact that they're even having discussions really about maybe just avoiding the job is really remarkable. The job that Wayne Rooney's done is a massive one, and a lot of the players are grafting, and you have to give them a huge amount of respect for that. That being said, obviously it's a game where we'd probably like to extend the unbeaten run to 11. You know, kind of at least a point. But in a similar way, you know, let's not score one and sit on it, because this is a team that have conceded first. How many times now? You know, I believe Stoke, Reading, Birmingham, and they're all coming back and getting results from all these games. So you know, it's not a situation we really want to put ourselves in. But we have got a guest. You are familiar with him. We've had him on before for the Championship predictions. It's Adam, also known as Goalhanger, the Derby County fan, and he's going to join me for tonight for previewing this game. So, without further ado, introduce yourself once again, Adam.
Hello, I'm Adam, Goalhanger on YouTube. Make the Derby County vlogs. They're pretty much the bread and butter. A few ground hops here and there, maybe some non-league games or different league games, but no, mainly Derby County videos, and that's what I've been doing for a couple of years now.
Yeah, and we spoke obviously last time about obviously how interesting it is to go, you know, not just to Derby County games and to the non-league stuff as well. This is a big game. This for both teams. We're in the form of their lives at the minute. We've been scraping out results left, right, and centre. We've managed to go 10 unbeaten, which is our best run in a decade, from what I read on an article last year. Obviously, Derby are a team out there that have had struggles financially and the rest of it. But you're still fighting, aren't you? You're still grafting. I mean, what's your take on it all?
Well, I think it's a difficult one. I think, you know, I've been putting in some good performances for sure. I mean, you look at the Birmingham game where obviously we got that draw. The game before that was probably a blip in terms of form against Nottingham Forest. The occasion got to the younger players, and understandably so. They've come through this season, and you know, they've not got as much experience as the older heads in the team. And in that Forest game, it was a huge game, obviously, for the rivalry, and they didn't seem to step up to the occasion. But in the games before that, beating Sheffield United 2-0 was a quality result, a bit of magic from Tom Lawrence. Obviously, we lost to Coventry in the Cup and drew to Reading before that. But you know, we definitely got a lot of fight in this team, and I was quite surprised actually in the Birmingham game that we got something from the game, because I didn't really believe we'd get anything from it after we were 2-0 down.
Yeah, definitely. And if there's any league where you're going to get that, it's this one. There's always results left, right, and centre where you kind of think, how the hell's that happened? But we've seen stranger things. So, I mean, it's like you say, I actually did. Obviously, you were on for the week where we predicted that result, that Derby, Sheffield United, and I can't remember what you said, but I remember that I said 2-2. So obviously, I was quite a bit off both result and scoreline there. It's that kind of momentum that you've had at home, really, isn't it? How you've grinded out results mainly at home that's got you kind of at this position, really, because I was looking back recently, and you rarely lose at home, and if you do, it can't be many times. And obviously, if you're not losing at home, you're grinding out a draw, it's another point on the board, and they can be massive in this league, just like any other. What do you think is what style of play are you really playing under Rooney? I've not really paid attention to that, to be honest. What's that kind of?
It's definitely been a defensive sort of play against the teams higher up in the division, definitely in the top 10/top 12. Definitely gone defensive. We saw that against West Brom when we won 1-0 against them. Bournemouth was a bit of an interesting one. They went defensive and so did we, and it cancelled each other out. But we made 2 errors and they went 2-1 up. But then Tom Lawrence with a bit of magic and we came back from that. But definitely, I can see us going defensively against Huddersfield. I would say probably the 3 centre-backs and 2 wing-backs that we've been deploying recently. We tried that against Forest, but I think it was just, like I said earlier, the occasion got to us. But obviously it worked on the weekend. I think, when Birmingham changed their shape, that's when it really played into our favour in the last 10 minutes. I mean, if a team comes up against Derby and presses and tries to play quick football, you can get round us, I would say. That is a weakness of ours, considering the age of our defence and things like that. But in terms of when we go defensive, we're usually quite resolute and we do quite well. And the 3 at the back with the wing backs can work really well. It depends whether Buchanan or Forsyth will be at left back or whether Eberselli or Byrne will be at right back. But at the end of the day, it's that 3 at the back / 5 at the back which has been working well for us recently.
Yeah, you make a good point about obviously the aging defenders, because it is an experienced team. Obviously, sometimes experience can be massive. Davis has been a strong player for you, hasn't he, for the duration of the season? But also it can come with a cost of a lack of sharpness and pace and obviously recovery. Obviously, former Huddersfield Town defender Richard Stearman is amongst your ranks, and I think again you make another brilliant point. If we're playing an attacking brand of football, and we know how he plays and we know his weaknesses, then it's going to be one of those situations where he might be able to, the coach might say to the player, look at how Richard kind of operates in this way and that way. And it's one of those where we're kind of doing your homework and can really kind of pay off, can't it?
Yeah, 100%. I think Stearman, to be fair, coming in since obviously Jagielka left as we couldn't extend his contract, he's coming in, has been as solid as ever. He got the man of the match against West Brom in his first game back after maybe a month or 2 of only coming off the bench trying to see out of games. But Stearman's been pretty solid. Obviously, I know I'm not going to come out and say that he's like a top championship defender. I think he is an average championship defender. But for Derby County, he's been on form. He's been pulling out an average of 7 sevens in terms of his performances, which is really solid. And definitely with Davis at the back, the experience there, and it can work quite well when we've got the youth of Eberselli down the right and Buchanan down the left, and then the experience down the middle can really work quite well. But I think it will depend on whether, I know Ray Rooney did an interview today where he said we have to match Huddersfield's tempo, and I think we do have to match Huddersfield in the game tomorrow night, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, we do play with that intensity, but what does sometimes, well, I say sometimes, it is pretty much all the time at the minute, what kills us off is we have a bad habit of absolutely wiping the team out of the park on the first half and playing with intensity, getting about 8 chances on goal and 1 will go in. The keeper will have a masterclass. Roos will probably turn into Spider-Man for you. And it'll just be one of those where we'll go in at 1-0, but we'll feel broken because we know it's coming. It'll be that typical second half where for the first 20 minutes we're on the back foot, followed by 10 minutes of being good again, and then you'll score in the last 20. And I've looked at the stats before coming on, obviously today and talking to you. 6 of your goals in the last however many games have been past the 80th minute. With only 3 coming before. It speaks volumes to Town fans because we know what's coming. I'd probably tell anyone who's a gambling man to put your mortgage on a 1-1 for this, because that's probably what will happen. We'll score nice and early, kind of batter the defence first half, and you'll just sit back and hit us where it hurts second. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe this game might be a bit different, but obviously, if Wayne Rooney's obviously kind of pointed out that you need to match the tempo, then both managers are doing their homework, like I say, and it's crucial, obviously, on a derby perspective, isn't it? If you do that homework and you kind of make us go to a plan B, then we're going to struggle, aren't we? And we've obviously been good this season, but everyone has a plan to beat everyone on the day, don't they?
Yeah, 100%. I think I agree with what you said. I think at Derby, if we do match Huddersfield's tempo, it's not usually our style of play, which which makes me think we're not going to do that. I do think we might try and sit back and contain and see ourselves out early. And I think conceding an early goal would be damaging for us because, you know, we're not a team that usually comes out of our shell this season. Obviously, we have had to be defensive, but we do have the attacking outlets through Tom Lawrence. But it's going to be key that the holding midfield, it will probably be Liam Thompson. He has to be on form as well as Max Bird to break up play and just hold the ball a bit for us. You know, I think against Birmingham, we struggled at stringing passes together, but if we can retain a bit of possession against Huddersfield, I think we break up that tempo. And yeah, I think it's just going to be an interesting one to see which team performs. I think there'll be definitely a few chances in this game coming for sure. I think there'll be a couple of errors, but you know, I'm struggling to predict this one myself. I think I would definitely lean towards a draw.
Yeah, and it's midweek as well, and I don't know if it's just me, but with it being a midweek, I just think there's always that extra degree of kind of a bit of aggro, a bit of scrappiness, a bit of battling, a bit of the rest of it, because I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just players wanting to warm up in the cold, but I just genuinely, I always look at the night games and think there's something a bit more going on in those games. It is, again, I mean, it must have hurt, obviously, losing against Forest. You've got bigger problems to worry about at the minute, but every Derby loss hurts. But there were positives, weren't there? I mean, there was some, from what I saw, we were going away to Reading, and literally we were watching the game. Obviously, Lawrence has to bag that in the first half. He bags that, it's a completely different game. You know that, he knows that.
100%.
Everybody watching that game could see when Tom hit that, it looked like it were going in. But what do you make of this Ebisele fella? Because I've been watching him recently, and he looks absolutely solid. And I don't even, you know, I've not heard much from him. I don't know where did he come from? Is he academy or?
He's come through the academy. I don't think he's been with us his whole career. Obviously, he is Irish, so I think he started out in Ireland and came over maybe with Jason Knight, another one of our academy players who stepped up a bit earlier than Ebisele into the first team. But Ebisele's come in and he's really, really solid. I think I like to say that if Ebisele had a final ball, as in terms of a final, you know, shot or a cross, he'd be the best player in the world because of his pace and strength. But unfortunately, he doesn't possess that at the moment. But definitely, he's got a huge potential. I do think there's got to be a Premier League player in there. The technical ability that he possesses, as well as the natural strength, is something that you don't really see go together too often. Natural strength and the pace that he has. I think
it's one or the other, isn't it? Definitely.
Yeah, but he seems to possess both. And don't get wrong, I think he's a bit nervous to shoot half the time. And against Forest, he did hang too far up the pitch, but that was probably an instruction from Rooney. But Ebisele, he's becoming one of my favourite players. He's definitely a fan's favourite for sure because of what he possesses. And I'll be honest, I don't think there's been one player that's caught him up yet in a run down the wing, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, like I say, he looks the part, and he's going to be one of those players that might be another heartbreak for you. Obviously, you lost out on Luke Plange, I believe. We're going to be honest. You've in terms of money, you've kind of been a little robbed, really, because he's a good player, probably better than $1 million. Kind gesture from Palace, obviously, to give him back to you for the rest of the season. I think they kind of recognise that you kind of need. You know, you need him to try and fight to stay in the division. What do you make of him? I've not really seen much of him recently.
I think I read this morning it was Plange. I knew Plange had come from Arsenal's academy into our academy. He'd not been with us long, but I'm pretty sure he only came on trial about 6 months to a year ago with the reserve. So to get a 7-figure fee for him after he was only on trial less than a year ago is pretty massive for us, to be fair. And like you said, he might be worth more than $1 million. 3 goals in 8 games as an 18-year-old coming into the Championship is nothing to be laughed at. But Palace have got a good player. It's a good club to go to for him. And, you know, at the end of the day, I was quite impressed with his hold-up play. I know we've got Colin Kazim-Richards, who is really good at hold-up play because of his size and his physique. But Luke Plange, he does it just as well. His touchdown is really good. And he's got a finish on him as well. He can finish. So at the end of the day, I think it's good that we've got him for the rest of the season because I think he's going to score a few more goals. I would even say if we got him next season, he'd be a top player for us and maybe first choice striker, because he's come into the fold and performed brilliantly, really. To be honest, I didn't expect too much from him, but he's come in and he's performed brilliantly for us so far. So it's a bit disappointing to lose him, but at the end of the day, he's gone to a good club. We've got £1 million for him, which a team in our position, that keeps us going for maybe a bit longer, and we can't really turn our noses up at that.
Yeah, like you say, it's mixed, isn't it? Because part of you obviously would expect more for obviously what he's producing. You know, I agree. 3 goals in 8 games is ridiculous. He's pretty good, isn't it? I mean, I've seen better records. I've seen massively worse. Some people don't even score a goal. And at 18, you know, that is actually a pretty good kind of record. But obviously, you're going for the rest of the season. It could be worse, couldn't it? That's something, obviously, with the situation you're in.
100%.
What you will think a lot of the time is it could be worse. You know, it could be, you know, we could have lost him completely, or, you know, the administrators or however that situation's working could have accepted 500k or whatever and less. So obviously mixed is kind of what you're saying, and I get where you're coming from. Obviously, looking at the table, every game is a game you're going to want to do as good as you can in because of the situation you're in, and it's kind of one of those really where you're fighting 7 points behind Reading. Reading have lost 5 out of 5 in the last 5. I don't think they could be playing, apart from the 3 goals they got against us, which were easy goals. I don't think they could be doing much worse at the minute. You've got Peterborough in front of you by 5 points with 1 draw and 4 losses. And then obviously yourselves. We won't talk about Barnsley. I just feel sorry for them. I think they are really done and dusted. I genuinely, I think, to be honest, if we had to settle it right now, I think you'd finish above Barnsley. That's how bad I just think Barnsley they can't seem to get a winner really at the minute. But
no, I think I'd agree with you at the moment based on how they're doing.
I just feel bad for them really, because, you know, Yorkshire club, it's a fixture we kind of look for with it being down the road, and it's just not happening, is it? It don't matter what they try, who they try it with, it just doesn't seem to work. 7 points behind. What you thinking? You think it's?
I think it's doable. Derby, we do struggle against the teams that are lower down. Obviously, we lost to Barnsley away 2-1 after being 1-0 up. We threw that game away. Peterborough, we lost there 2-1, conceding 2 goals in the 10 minutes of extra time there. That was a real kick in the teeth. I think that was the second game of the season, first away game. 1-0 up for a youngster, and then to lose that one. Reading, you know.
Yeah, I remember that game. Dembele, 96-minute one. Yeah. I remember watching the vlog. It just didn't look good at all. Yeah,
we didn't perform well there, but Reading away, we weren't too bad. I thought the performance was fine, but, you know, 2 bits of quality from Julia Hoylett, I think it was. Yeah, I think 2 bits of quality from him.
Yeah, he got 2 goals
for the first one, and then poor from us defensively from a set piece for the second one. But we deserved the point, maybe more, and it was a bit of a one where we thought on another day them goals don't go in and we take all 3 points. So it's going to be a difficult one. Obviously, the Cardiff game was rearranged, you know, but I do think we can catch Reading, but it's going to be a really difficult one to do that. Obviously, we do have to win games. We are drawing a couple at the minute. We have to keep winning. And we know we're into the second half of the season now. This is when the countdown starts, and we have to try and get ourselves away from that as close to Reading and as close to getting out of the relegation zone as quick as possible.
Yeah, and no task is an easy one in this league, but it's doable. And I think obviously these games are going to be where you're going to try and defend just to get a point. Because if you can get a point, you know what Rooney will be thinking as well at the minute. What a lot of it will be thinking, you know, kind of Reading and losing every game. So if we're getting a point whilst they're losing, we'll slowly get up to where they are. So it's all about how you kind of work it, how you approach it, because you risk and reward. If you throw everyone in the kitchen sink up and then you lose, it's kind of like, should we have settled? Should we have gone for a draw? Moving on to like individual players now. Now, looking obviously at transfer, like I said, you lost Plange, but got him back, didn't you? You lost Shinnie, didn't you? To
Wigan.
Wigan, yeah.
30 grand, yeah.
Again, it's experienced players obviously that would have helped you, and he was a pretty good player for you for what I'd seen. did a solid role, didn't he?
Yeah, he won Player of the Year last season, which, you know, obviously we didn't have the best seasons, but at the end of the day, Player of the Year at a football club means you must be a decent player.
Definitely.
This season he'd been quality as ever, scoring the equaliser away at Coventry. And he'd just been a really solid player and the sort of character that we needed in this situation. And it was a bit of a strange one to see him leave. I know that it's been said publicly that he wasn't made available because another chairman in the Championship would have offered $1 million for him. But to lose him for £30,000 is a strange one. Is it the administrators trying to prove a point to the EFL about, you know, the EFL said we shouldn't be rejecting bids for players at one point. The next couple of days later, Shinnie leaves for 30 grand. It's not really going to change our situation. That £30,000, it's not enough money at all. So
it's not nothing in football. That
is it a tactical move? Who knows? And disappointing. It came out yesterday. Shinnie was apparently crying on his way out from the club because he didn't want to leave. But you know, at the end of the day, it's a strange one. It was disappointing to lose him, but he's a top player, and I'm sure he'll get back to the Championship with Wigan.
Yeah, they look to be doing pretty good at the minute, don't they? Obviously, wishing the best. I've only heard good things really about Shinnie. He's never been a player to always score goals, but just a solid kind of midfielder that did his role. And obviously, like you say about the footballers sometimes do feel the pain of stuff like this. So it is obviously quite sad and one of those where you think, what were the point for the sake of 30 grand? It's just made everyone unhappy and everything. So talking about Town, obviously, like you say, 10 unbeaten. We're overachieving massively. I don't think there's any Town fan that would disagree really. That maybe not overachieving, but where we were based to finish with. All the bookies had us to go down. They always do. In fact, it's the same thing every year, I suppose. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It'll sound like I'm rubbing it in, obviously, but yesterday was a massive day for our club. We signed Jamal Blackman, who was obviously at Chelsea for so long, playing under them coaches. And then he went to...
He was at Sheffield United for a bit.
Sheffield United, played solid there. I've had a Sheffield United fan who I've spoken to for years say he was quality. He ended up working with Carlos at that weird lot down the road that think they belong in the Prem. But we'll see them very soon, either one way or another. But yeah, I trust his judgment. He must know that Jamal's a good backup. I don't think he'll take over Nichols' spot, but I'm more than happy for him to be back up. I've only heard great things about him. The Chelsea youngster, we've just got a thing for Chelsea players. I'm not even joking you. Over the years, we've had them all. We've had Casey Palmer, Izzy Brown, Colwell, obviously right now, and then Tino Angerin. A bit injury prone, but looks like he'll be a good player offensively. And then obviously the big one for Town fans was Karel Aitin, because it wasn't until about 7:30 last night that he was even spoke about, and then to get it done for 10 o'clock was crazy. It was massive for us last season, but he got injured, and it's one of those where you have a massive gap in your midfield if you lose a player like that. To have all that, Trevor Chalobah, that's another one. To have him and keep Lewis O'Brien, I'm sure you're familiar with the rumour where Leeds were interested in him, Palace were interested in him. Palace are just trying to sign our teams at a minute, really, but obviously it's one of those where for the first time in a while we've got three solid, high quality midfielders. If we play two in midfield, I can rest easy knowing that a quality one's replacing them off the bench. If we start with the three midfield, I can know again, another Chelsea man, John Russell, will come off the bench. And obviously, for a team that's kind of struggled getting Deadwood out the door since leaving the Prem and getting the right attitude kind of players in, it's massive. It's massive to get Carel back on a permanent. So, Carl said in the presser he might be available for tomorrow night. And Carell's obviously doubled that and said, I'm ready to go when he calls me. So we could see signings tomorrow night, which would be great. probably unlikely for Tino to feature. Unlikely again for Blackman because he'll be a backup goalie, but Aiton could make his way onto the field. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, Lewis O'Brien's been quality for us this year. I'm sure you're aware of his progress with us over the years. Keeping him was massive. We've been quite lucky for no one to try and nick Sorba or try and get Cowell out. I believe there was a clause saying he couldn't, but obviously as a fan, you don't know until they tell you that. So it was something we feared. Quite a good day yesterday. So obviously we must be high in confidence for tomorrow night. There's no reason, 10 unbeaten. We should look at this to win, but obviously there's more to it than just confidence and everything like that. What so you say you think you're going to go defensive? What do you kind of do? You just expect behind the ball all game? How do you normally?
I think taking on your point about the first half and second half differences Huddersfield seem to have, I would say definitely in that first half we might try and go behind the ball, putting in solid challenges, just getting our feelers out for how the game's going to go. And I think the key will be not to concede early on. But even then, if we concede early on, I'd still say we're in the game as long as we pick up the ball and have a bit of possession. I think definitely that's going to be the way we're going to try and play, with a bit of possession. You know, we've got to be calm on the ball. Can't make any stupid errors, but I think, yeah, we will be behind the ball for that first half, and then the second half we'll change maybe our shape, or wait to see how Huddersfield play and wait to see you change your shape first.
Yeah, and you know what? Yeah, it's actually quite nice to see. Obviously, no one ever likes seeing a team in financial struggles to the point where they're getting point deductions and the rest of it. Mm. It's actually quite interesting to see how your attitude has changed in the matter of weeks, obviously, from when we last spoke. Mm. You didn't know. It was kind of a thing where you was kind of like, I don't want to say, are we going to do it or not, because it could be. But you keep grinding them out. Mm. So who knows? It's if it was going to happen in any league, it would be this one. But obviously, I don't think any Town fan would disagree with me here. You know, we don't support Derby. We don't watch them week in, week out. You do, obviously. Would you agree Tom Lawrence is the main threat?
Definitely. I would have to say Tom Lawrence is the main threat. You know, he's a very dangerous player on that left foot, even on his right foot as well. He'll put the ball away. He's the main threat. I think it's always difficult to contain him. I'm not saying that in an arrogant way. I'm just saying the way he plays. I agree
as well. We've seen it firsthand, mate. We honestly, I was in Mallorca watching our first game of the season, thinking, "Oh, we've got Moyes in midfield. We'll be fine." He turned Elphick inside out, and I don't remember that game or the second one where he scored the screamer and just put us on the back foot. Honestly, you're not arrogant at all. I think you're spot on, really. We've seen the past few games as well. That Forest chance is a one-off. Any other game,
it's one that we don't have any luck at Forest, to be fair, in terms of goal scoring. I've seen one goal in about 5 games when I've been there, so It's typical. We missed it.
Yeah, it's just the name of the game sometimes, isn't it? Also, we talk about Lawrence. He's obviously stayed. You've managed to hold on to him, which is huge. And he does have a bit of a history against us. So fingers crossed, he just doesn't turn up. We usually do have a habit of silencing the better players, but with him, we never really managed to get that to be a thing. So, what formation do you play?
I'll be honest. I think it changes depending on the game and the foot and the team. But I would say, if I was going to predict how we'd line up tomorrow, I think we'd stick with maybe the Birmingham one. We have to be better than we were in that game, but that we've proved that formation works in terms of getting goals. I would say. I'm trying to think. I think it's definitely the 3 at the back with the wing backs, and then 2 in midfield. You know, you're looking at more direct down the middle, aren't you? We usually play with 1 up front, and
of course, yeah,
definitely those wing backs have to be up and down, but the defensive line has to be solid. You know, they have to clean up at the back in terms of Davis, Stim, and whoever's sitting at centre back as well. And it does rely on the wing backs 100%, and it's also crucial that, against Forest, we completely lost our midfield and we were really, really struggling, but we have to make sure it stays there through the likes of Liam Thompson and Max Bird, and maybe even Christian Bielik, but I don't think he'll feature tonight.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Whenever you play a three at the back wing back formation, the wing backs are like the kind of, well, they're like the Bernardo Silva's of the team. They have to do all the yards. Ebisele is a wing back, isn't he?
Yeah.
So obviously you want him at your best. I've like I said, like from you, I've only heard great things. I've only seen great things. Like pace and strength can be an issue. We do have a similar kind of system where we've got good fullbacks, so it works when we play kind of the back. But we've been all over the shop. We've been like you actually at the minute, and I think that's a positive thing for both teams, really. If you stick with one formation that many times, eventually you get found out, and then if you can swap between them, you might play worse, you might play a bit better, but if you get the result in the end, we love seeing nice football sometimes, but what really matters in the moment of it is what happened. If we come out the game having had 30 shots on target, which would never happen, but let's imagine another world where it does. We have 30 shots, 15 on target, let's say, hit the bar, the post, should have had a penalty or whatever, and then you go and nit one in the last minute. I think we know who's going to be happier coming out of the game. You're gonna be much happier. It's not always about the performance. It's about being organised and grinding out a result, isn't it? So, let's get your kind of take on our team. What who do you kind of fear when you obviously look at us? Because obviously we look at it one way, seeing them every week, but you look sometimes at the stats maybe and the rest of it.
I mean, like you mentioned earlier, the midfielder, is it O'Brien? I said that correct. Yeah, he's obviously a danger. Colwill at the back, I do like him. I think he's a top defender, and he's definitely got a career ahead of him, either at the top end of the Championship or in the Prem. So he worries me as well. But a goal against former team, Dwayne Holmes. I'm nervous about him. Being honest with you, I think he's got a goal in it against us. If I'm being honest, but yeah, I think Huddersfield are just very solid, and I worry about a couple of players coming in. I've always mentioned Jordan Rhodes, only because I've liked him for a long time. And obviously, the new signings, do you reckon, is it that Carol Lighting on loan? If he features tomorrow, maybe.
Well, what's happened is like I say, he was top 2 players last season, and not to get it was kind of heartbreaking. It's weird because as a football fan, you'll know what this is like. Me and my mate, we used to be in PlayStation parties all the time talking about the best town team in the past 5 years or whatever, and if we could go on back and get a player on loan, and we always say Smith Rowe, but then we say, what about a realistic one? It was always Carell Aiton. We always said Hogg, O'Brien and Aiton would have been a dream midfield, and if we somehow get a way to get all 3 of them in, then I don't like 4-3-3 as a general rule, because I used to play it in Sunday League. Didn't really like it then. Didn't really like it under the former bosses because they could never get it right. We can play 4-3, whatever. I don't care. As long as those 3 are in midfield, it's going to work, because you've just got quality. You've got, Carell can use both feet quite well. You've got goal scorers as well, and you've got Hoggy who's just a tank. He just kind of battles through and wins the ball back. So it's just individuals sometimes that can make certain systems work. Your mate Tom is in the comments. He just said, "Who's the bigger club, Huddersfield or Derby?"
Oh.
It's quite easily Derby are a bigger club.
But Tom, I told him to join in.
Yeah, Tom's coming to wind you up.
Of course he is.
I bet you've not let him hear the end of it after.
No, I was so happy because I met him before the game, and I thought, I'm a bit nervous. I said it. I thought the occasion derby, we don't turn up to big occasions. We're very well known for that in the Championship, and I was had a bit of nervousness about it. And when we went 1-0 down, I thought typical, and I thought, we can't lose. But when we got the draw, I was well happy, and a bit of banter at the end of the game to Tom. Be
Of course,
got
and
that goal.
to share the points is always nice. If you know, especially on your end, having come back with an overhead. So love the honesty, Brad. Yeah, I mean, Derby are a bigger club, and you know they've probably done further. There's different things. I mean, we both share the absolute honour of being the worst clubs in Premier League history. So that's always
exactly.
another
It's a great
thing
record to have.
To be proud of. Let's get down to it. So, are you going tomorrow night?
I am going tomorrow night. Yeah.
Well, if I do say so myself, I do think our ground is a nice one to go. So I do think it would. I mean, we were walking past it today. Me and my mate were saying, I bet it's a quality away day to do with because it's good view from the away end, and it's always a good atmosphere between both sets of fans. What score are you going for?
I was going to say 2-2, but I thought I don't know if there's going to be 4 goals in it. If I'm being honest, another 2-2 after the Birmingham one, and obviously we had one against Reading. I'm going to say a 1-1. I think you'll score first, but we'll get a goal back in the second half, and we'll see what happens. But I'm going to say a 1-1. I'll definitely take a point against Huddersfield.
Yeah, of course you would. You know, a point against a top side, it's massive for you if you can get that. Tom's kicking off in comments now. I've seen this. Proud Terry's just said in comments we can get top 6. Why not after this transfer business? Definitely. You know, we've had a solid last day. High boot and offside for the Bielik goal. I promise I'm still not crying.
Oh.
Tom said 3-0 Town. Ryan from Proud Terry's said 2-1 Town. 4-0 Town. 2-1 Town. I honestly do not know, but I'm going to go for a 2-2 because I just think
it'd be a good game.
I can't because we always get 1-1s, you always get 2-2s, but I can't let it spin. It'll just be I'm just gonna settle it now and spare me the heartache. It'll be a 2-2. And what will happen is don't know why Colwell is out for this fixture. That's another thing I should probably mention. Apart from that, I think we've got everyone free. I don't know if Danny Ward's actually fit, but because you can do it, I don't know. It's a weird one because some people are saying in chat he's not, but I was under the assumption he was. We'll have to see. Mention your friends. I love that, Brad. Why do we always get 1-1s? The guy who comments that, I renamed him to 1-1 on Snapchat because every single away game the kid went to was 1-1. We went to Peterborough, 1-1. We went to Barnsley, 1-1. I said to him, why can't you come to like Fulham or something where we'd take a draw and be happy with it, or Bournemouth? It came off last game for this reason. Yeah, I thought so. But maybe it might be fine now. It's obviously, that's Friday. He's had 1, 2, 3, 4 days to recover. And he has pro doctors. We can pray that feed the Wards back. Speaking of Ward, if he's playing, I reckon Ward will score first. Then, yeah, it's going to be planned, isn't it? He'll score.
I'd be very happy if he did. I think
it makes sense.
And that would be quality.
And then I think for once we're going to be the ones to nick it, and not you in the whatever. I reckon you'll score again because we'll sit off you again, and then yeah, it'll be Lawrence White. Always scores against us, and then I reckon it'll be O'Brien. Yeah, Ward, Plange, Lawrence, O'Brien. Turn for England. Jack, you're going to make us go to Pence on Saturday. Oh, God. But, like I say, it should be a really good game. I think it will be. We'll say all this. It'll probably be a 0-0, won't it?
Yeah, exactly. 0-0 boring game and then forget about it.
So, but who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. Yeah, it's been great to get you on again, mate. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me on.
It's at 40-minute mark, so it's probably a good time to finish up. That's a good question. How many are you bringing tomorrow? Have you sold out or?
I don't think we've sold out. If we have, I can't remember. We must have sold out over a week ago. We sold out Borough away today, which is about 2,500-3,000. But I think I'd say we're probably going to take about 1,200 to 1,500 tonight, if I'm being honest. I think only because this was the game where, obviously we had that February 1st deadline, so it was a game of would it happen or would it not. But yeah, I think around 1,500 will be coming. So not bad from us, about an average from us that we usually take, but we do take over depending on the game.
And then Tom just said Fraser Campbell always scores against Midland sides. That's true. I remember when we obviously played you when Toffolo scored and he hit the post from about 25 yards out, and I thought, nearly Derby won't have sold out 2 goals from. Hopefully we win tomorrow night. Just before we finish up, if anyone wants to spam score predictions in the chat or anything else to do with deadline day, you've got from now until about 43 to do it. But like I say, mate, it's been great to get you on. I've got to ask you the question. Do you think you'll stay up? Because fair play to you. You're so much more positive than you were last time. I mean, last time you were kind of bordering between. I don't want to be too positive and then just get heartbroken, because it will be heartbreaking if you do with the situation after doing so well, and then on the other side of the coin, you've got to be realistic. So
I think I've not said this before, but I think if we continue like we are, I don't see why come last game of the season it will be battle between us and Reading and Hull, maybe, depending on what their form's like.
And don't forget you got Cardiff in that as well on 26 points.
Yeah, exactly, Cardiff.
And they've just lost Kiefer Moore, so
I think there'll be about 3 or 4 teams where it'll be a great last day and it'll be who scores more, who wins more. But I think we have to keep one eye on our goal difference and how it's majorly better than anyone else down there, because I think that's an extra point come down to the day this season, I think. So for that to say it, I think it will be last game of the season and we might have a chance of staying up. But I'm still not sitting here saying for sure.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's fair enough. That's better than obviously what you kind of said last time. Reading obviously getting 3 against us when we won 4-3 there. That's helped them on the goal difference part. But they couldn't seem to buy a win. So like you say, I've got faith that if you can keep at this kind of, and no one's expecting you to win a draw every week, but if they keep losing and you keep getting points here and there, who knows? It could happen. And then you can get big into EFL administrators, whoever you want, then, because knowing that they'll probably end up kicking you out of the league just because you proved them wrong. But
exactly.
But you can obviously show him what is it. So a couple of comments: 6-1 Town. Don't think that's going to be serious. 12-0 Town. All right, okay.
Well, I've gone home by the time it gets to 5.
Hog to knock out Lawrence. That's probably something he'd probably do off a tackle. 2-1 Derby. Respectful. I mean, it could happen. No one likes Reading, so we all want Derby to see it really even me. Tom. Ross says 1-1. And then Matthew's going out turn. He's the best right back in the world. I'm not sure if I agree with that last one. Reading was a class away there. Yeah. He will make a massive difference and create lots for us. He certainly will. Absolutely will. He will be massive and integral, crucial to our plans if we want to push. I said it in the video I just made about an hour before, obviously reacting to the signings. I had a feeling last night when that signing came through that I've not had in years. It was a feeling of, wow, maybe. I thought to myself, surely not, but maybe. And obviously you've had it recently about staying home. We might have it about going up. Who knows? It's a big game under the lights, and it could go many different ways. So 3-1, 8-0. It's not going to happen. First goal wins. I mean, that's also something that could be quite likely. Lawrence versus Sauber, the Welsh game tomorrow. Interesting. Yeah, fair point. Battle of the Welsh wingers. But yeah, thank you so much for everyone who tuned in. We're going to wrap it up now. and we'll just see how we get on tomorrow. I'll probably message you on Instagram, mate, meet up with you tomorrow, see what your thoughts are.
100%, yeah.
Like I say, hope Derby fans all have a safe trip, and obviously we'll just have to wait and see how this one goes. It's one of them games. I do hope you stay up, because just purely in the fact that, you know, you've been wronged by the league and by so many different things. So I kind of want obviously the underdog to win here, because that's what football's about. And if you can, it'll be something we'll never forget about. So that's something obviously that obviously if we went up and you went down, I wouldn't be sad, but I'd be sad in a kind of oh, well, that's a shame. You know, they really did give it a go. But we'll just have to see, won't we? You reckon you can do it if you keep the points up? Yeah, guys, if 6-5 Tom Lee's last minute overhead to win it. If that happens, I'm knee slide on outside the coaches and the lot. But we'll just have to wait and see, won't we? Great video, that should be a good game. Cheers, Tom, for tuning in. Thanks to everyone who came and watched today. Go show Adam the love on his channel and subscribe to his channel. We'll both have a vlog out pretty shortly after the game, whether that's the next day for you or the day of doing it. We'll have to see on that one. But yeah, he makes some great videos. I've watched him for a long time. And yeah, thanks a lot. Also, thank you a lot for 4,000 subscribers. That was quality. I set the goal for February and we smashed it. So thank you so much for 4K. I think that is everything. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And I'll catch you tomorrow when we take on Derby at the John Smiths. Cheers, guys.